Hi everybody, it's Colin Boyer, your Pennsylvania and Maryland Realtor, and today I wanted to talk about how do inspections work when buying or selling a home. This video is mainly for my first-time home buyers or somebody who's selling a home for the first time that might not remember or might not have had inspections done when they bought their home. So one of the main things we talk about when our clients, when they're buying a home, is how do inspections work if they are having inspections done on a property. Now, I know getting inspections done versus completely waiving them has two completely divided sides and divided opinions when that is going on and when they're electing or waiving inspections. I am not talking about that today. I am just simply talking about how do inspections work and how do the inspection contingencies work when you're buying a home. So let's dig into that and completely get over that. That's a completely different discussion, and you probably have your own opinions, and I will not be able to convince you either way, whether you should do them or you shouldn't do them. That is completely upon the buyer's decision and based on what your competition level is if you're going against multiple offers. So let's talk first about the inspection contingency and how it's elected. So when you're making an offer on a home, if it is accepted, you probably did one of two things. You either waived the inspection or you elected the inspection. When you're electing the inspection in Pennsylvania and Maryland, you are electing first what type of inspections you're doing. You have the option to do a whole home inspection, which is pretty much from the roof to the foundation and everything in between, including your mechanicals, utilities, and everything that could pretty much break in a home, including roofing, all of that. Pretty much everything in between there. You can also do a wood destroying insect inspection, which is mainly termites, but also a few other pests as well. You can do radon. You can do a septic inspection if you're on a septic. You can do a water test if you're on a well. You can do a flood and boundaries inspection. There are so many different inspections you can do. The main ones we see in our area are the whole home inspection and termite inspection when people are buying properties. So now you go through the decision of are you electing them or are you waiving them, but let's say you elected them. Now you're also determining a time frame. Most times in our market, it's a 10-day inspection period unless it's a very, very busy time where we're seeing inspectors are booked up a little bit longer. And at those times, sometimes we'll go to 15 days. If we are doing a septic inspection or a water inspection that typically take a little bit longer, sometimes we'll go longer on those as well. We might even go out to 20 to 25 days, depending on how long it might take. If we're in the winter time, we never know if the ground freezes and we're doing a septic inspection. We might even go out a little bit longer if we're having multiple weeks of very, very cold ground where we just cannot pump septic or dig and find the septic. Sometimes in the winter months, doing a septic inspection can be a pain, but still very important. Our offer's accepted. We have the inspections elected. What are our next steps? Our next steps very, very soon after going under contract within a day or two, we are identifying which inspector we want to use to have the inspection done. Most times our clients will ask us who we recommend, so we will give them good contacts for different companies our clients have liked in the past, and other times, sometimes they'll have somebody they use, whether it's a relative or somebody that they've heard one of their colleagues have had a good experience with, and that's our next step. Identifying the inspection company and the inspector that's going to be doing the inspections and getting them scheduled. And you've got to remember when doing this about how long your inspection timeline is. So let's say we get that inspector scheduled. We did a 15-day inspection period. He goes out on the 13th day. Now what is next? You're going to get a nice big long, probably 40, 50 plus page report of everything that's terrible, good, not as terrible, but maybe a little bit bad, minor issues. You're going to get a huge list. And mainly what our clients focus on is the significant findings at the top of the inspection report. And they obviously still review the rest of the pages and inspections there. Now you're going to make a decision when you're going through on your inspections. Typically, the goal of inspections is to find out what we can can have the seller repair, replace, or whatever that is based on terms you pre-negotiated when writing an offer. So after that's done, you either accept the property as it is or figure out what you can do to have the seller credit you or repair those items. But after you get the report, you send out a reply to the seller within that timeline that you got the inspection contingency window. So if you got it back on the 13th day and you're in a 15-day contingency window, you need to get a reply to the sellers within those 15 days. Now, once it gets into the seller's hands, typically what the contracts say is there is a 5-day negotiation window where you're going to go back and forth with the seller to figure out credits, repairs, replacements, or whatever that may look like. So that's really the long story short of getting everything done and, responded to and agreed upon within the inspection contingency windows. You've got your initial window and then typically a 5-day negotiation period. Now let's talk about if you got the seller to agree to some repairs. Now you're going to do a reply to inspections, have them sign everything, make sure everything's good to go, and before closing, you go out and verify that the work was done and it was done sufficiently. And sometimes you'll get the receipts and invoices that were paid for and all of that other good stuff to show the work was done. And then everyone's happily ever after. There are some times where very, very significant issues like foundation issues or things like that pop up that buyers aren't comfortable with, and sometimes they do elect to back out of contracts. It's not the norm. Typically the goal, especially after spending all that money on an inspection, if the house is solid and it's things that can be fixed or repaired versus things that can never really be fully fixed in the future, you get those agreements done and everyone's kind of happy at the end when all of the inspections are done correctly. That's really how inspections are done when you're buying a home. And if you're in the seller's shoes, you can kind of reverse that. And that's pretty much what you can expect on the seller side. And sometimes just a nice little bonus that we'll see is sometimes buyers will even go in and say, hey, we are not looking to nickel and dime you as buyers. If there's a single item that costs $1,500 to repair or replace, those are the things we're going to ask you about. And those values can be predetermined prior to getting an offer accepted. As an agent, I can never tell you to not do an inspection. If everybody could get inspections done on properties, that would be great, but it's not always the case if you're competing on homes. So whether you choose to do inspections or choose not to do inspections, that is pretty much how inspections work when you're buying a home. If we can help you guys buy or sell in South Central Pennsylvania or Northern Maryland, or really anywhere in the country, because we have awesome agent partners all across the world, feel free to reach out to us. My name is Colin Boyer, your Pennsylvania and Maryland Realtor. My number is on the screen. You can reach out to me there, or you can go to collinboyer.net and fill out a form to schedule a time to chat with us about buying or selling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.